A game that hits 25 million concurrent players should, in theory, be one of the best experiences out there. And when you play Steal A Brainrot, you'll feel the highest of highs, but also the lowest of lows. And ever since the game's release in May by studio Brazilian Spider, the people have been undecided. Some say it's good, innocent fun. Others still say it's one of the worst and most toxic games to ever blow up on Roblox. So what's that all about? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the 10 key factors that have led to the unprecedented success of and backlash to the most popular game in the history of Roblox. And for my first point, I need to tell you a story. One that started when I clicked play on Steal A Brainrot for the first time. The game loads up, and much like in real life, I have nothing. Nada. Zero doubloons to my name. A base completely empty. Everyone around me, though, they were rich. At least they looked rich. And that's trick number one. I'm judging my wealth in comparison to everyone else around me and concluding that I'm broke and they're wealthy. That makes me motivated. Motivated to get my virtual money up and no longer feel less than. We call this relative deprivation, and the goal here is to make us want to close the aspiration gap by getting rich, which we do how exactly in Steal A Brainrot? Well, whilst my base was empty, everyone else's were filled with these strange little creatures, brainrots, AI-generated hybrid monstrosities that blew up as part of a whole Italian brainrot meme universe earlier this year. And in order to get rich, I need to collect these guys too. Every one that I get grants me passive income, and the rarer they are, the more money I make. Okay, so I'm aiming high here. I want the big ones, like the ones those other players have. I mean, it looks like I could just sit around and wait for something rare to come from this conveyor belt, which is a literal slot machine viewed side on, by the way, and hope I get lucky, but there's a faster way. Look at them. Duel, duel, duel. Crabo Limonetta. And, ooh, what's that? Las Vaquitas Saturnitas. They were making their owner a lot of money. $935,000 a second, a so-called secret tier brainrot, just sitting there in another player's base. To get a brainrot this rare, I could be waiting for several hours for it to appear on that conveyor belt, or I could do something a lot quicker. You see, in Steal A Brainrot, you can lock your base, but that only lasts for 60 seconds at a time. All I had to do was wait for my target to slip up, be careless for just a couple of seconds, and I could slip in. I needed to wait just a little longer. There it is, an opportunity. The prompt appears. Hold E to steal. My heart's pounding. I press the key. The meter crawls upwards slowly. Nearly there, and success! Okay, I make a run for it as fast as possible. Touch my base and it's mine, but what's that? Oh man, the owner spotted me. She's faster than I am and she's got her bat out. If she lands a hit, just a single hit, then it's over. A swing comes within inches of my head. Miss. And another. Miss! I'm so close to my base. A couple more steps, one more, yes! Okay, I've got it. I'm rich, baby, I'm rich. And right there, I got it. That incredible rush, excitement, and power. Frankly, it's an absolute masterstroke of game design because it gives every player their own story, like mine. Stories of daring heists and lucky escapes made possible by the tools that the game gives you. These tools allow players to create what we call emergent narratives, one of the most important keys to a game's long-term success. It's also where Steal A Brainrot truly breaks the mold. It takes the tycoon genre that has been around on Roblox for many years and adds a brutal PvP system that reinvigorates the genre entirely. It's not just about building your own empire, it's about the thrill of actively tearing down someone else's. It's also about greed. It's never enough to have what we already have. We always want more. And whilst that greed had just pushed me to my first big win, that taste of victory was only one half of the equation. Because you see, I got distracted, greedy, looking for another brainrot to steal to expand my fledgling empire. And that's when I heard it. The alarm. My Las Vaquitas Saturnitas was being stolen. I was on the complete other side of the map. I pulled up my bat and I ran as fast as I could. I was getting closer. I could see the thief, who was getting dangerously close to escaping. I just kept swinging desperately, but it was no use. He was gone, and I was back to square one. And I felt actually kind of devastated. Me, a two-dimensional PNG with no physical mind or body, felt devastated by having a virtual brainrot stolen from me that I had owned for less than 10 minutes. I just felt the consequences of my own lust for power, and I learned the hard way that winning at this game requires patience and even a little bit of strategy. Now imagine how a 9-year-old child would feel experiencing all of that, because they're the target audience here. That tension, that elation, that devastation, all amplified. All of these emotional highs and lows, they don't just draw children in, they keep them coming back. Okay, so we have the emotional hook, but how exactly does the game keep you playing for hundreds of hours? Well, this is where some psychological hooks come into play. Remember, the pattern a game is trying to follow to get you playing over and over again is hook, habit, hobby. So the more more hooks you have, the more likely the player is to come back to a game habitually, and then ultimately as a hobby. Okay then, so to make a habit, you have to give players a reason to come back to your game at regular intervals. Let's say once a week, once a day, or twice a day, and Steal A Brainrot has hooks that draw players back in across all of those time frames. Most importantly, a huge amount of the player base are coming back to the game at least once a week for the weekly updates, which happen on Saturdays. The updates are seamless, and they turned into proper celebrations. Like, the update event I attended was basically a 40-minute impromptu dance party. And during this event, lots of rare Brainrots became available to buy from the conveyor belts and steal from the developer's base as well as other players. Rare mutations occurred, which upped the value of the Brainrots, and rare weapons dropped to the ground to provide new ways of thwarting other players during the event. Speaking more generally, updates often bring with them new mechanics. This pulls in those achievers and explorers who want to discover the new content, collect all the new stuff, and play with the new thing. These new mechanics usually involve some way to unlock powerful new Brainrots, or upgrade existing ones to be more powerful. For example, the craft machine. Put old Brainrots in, get a new, more powerful one out. But this game wants more from you. They want Steal A Brainrot to become a daily habit for players. So how do they do that? Well, players are encouraged to come back to the game frequently through an offline earning mechanic, where your Brainrots will accumulate a certain amount of money whilst you're away from the game. It's notable that the amount earned whilst offline is significantly less than the amount that one would have made by simply remaining in-game and AFKing for that same period of time. Remaining in-game also has other benefits, because there are these weather events that occur every 3 hours on weekdays and hourly on weekends. These events give Brainrots on the conveyor belts a chance to have special mutations that visually alter the Brainrot and increase their money per second generated. You have to be in-game to experience these events. And if you are when they start, you also get a free spin of an event-specific jackpot wheel that gives you a small chance of winning a rare exclusive Brainrot. Players are also incentivized to come back to the game through rebirthing. This is a common tactic in Roblox games, and in Steal A Brainrot, it involves you giving up all of your Brainrots and money in exchange for, quote, a cash multiplier, more starting cash, new gear, and more slots for Brainrots in your base. You can currently rebirth up to 16 times, with new rebirth tiers being added through updates. Each rebirth tier has higher cash requirements and different Brainrot ownership requirements, so it provides quite the long-term challenge. All of these mechanics are essentially FOMO tactics. You don't want to miss out on having a big opportunity to get rich, or miss out on exclusive Brainrots, so the game uses these tactics to exploit that fear. Special announcement! The Blabverse has expanded. Thanks to these wonderful people, I now have a Discord server. If you want to be a part of our wonderful community, then join at the link below. Now back to the video. In my opinion, this is the real secret to the game's success. It's a perfect machine for generating rage bait. The core loop is very emotionally potent. The high of stealing, the devastating low of being stolen from, the chaotic gameplay with bats and slappers and traps and body swap potions and invisibility cloaks, grapplers, tasers, cloners, sentries, Medusa's head. These things all guarantee explosive, highly clippable reactions. Creators are incentivized to steal from younger players specifically to capture the meltdowns that occur when Brainrots are stolen from them, because they know that these clips will go viral, and these rage baiting clips act as an extremely effective form of free advertising. It also helps that every mechanic in Steal A Brainrot is extremely intuitive, which makes the game incredibly simple to both play and understand, meaning that even people who have never played the game can understand the stakes of a clip within the first few seconds. All of these things make a certain set of people feel compelled to check out the game for themselves, and also to make their own viral clips. This is the bandwagon effect. The game's popularity becomes self-sustaining, not because it's the most fun necessarily, but because it's the most talked about. But here's the strange part. For a game seemingly built to tear people apart, it can be surprisingly good at bringing them together. The game does offer opportunities for sharing. You can give your Brainrots to other people if you're that way inclined. The game can also be played with or as a group, encouraging socialization and teamwork. In fact, teaming up is often the best way to win, allowing you to create a Robin Hood type situation of stealing from one rich player to enrich the poorer masses. And credit to the game, it does give you tools to enhance this sort of collaborative play. Friends can enter your locked base, and there's also a friend bonus system that gives you extra cash if a friend is in the server with you. But that still doesn't explain the initial explosion of this game. So why Steal A Brainrot specifically? After all, it's directly based on an earlier title, Steal A Character, and that game didn't take off in nearly the same way. Well, perhaps the most important reason for Steal A Brainrot's success is that Steal A Brainrot successfully capitalized on a trending meme, popular among Roblox's core demographic, Gen Alpha, and used it to create a game whose theming is amusing amusing and silly and relevant to that audience. There is just one small problem with this though. When I first encountered the Italian Brainrots meme, I thought it was just goofy, nonsensical fun. Hey, we have these silly characters with funny names and this text-to-speech voice talking over the video saying all these funny sounding words in Italian with creepy music. But, you know, those funny sounding words, well, there's kind of a Cocofanto Elefanto in the room. Two particular characters, Tralalero Tralala and Bombardiro Crocodilo, have quite disturbing translations to the seemingly fun and funny Italian text-to-speech heard in their character introduction videos. Yeah, these are not kid-friendly. They're actually pretty vile. Now, the developers didn't write this stuff, to be clear, but these are characters used in their game, which turns a dumb meme into something that feels a bit more sinister. But the controversy with these brainrots doesn't end there. Arguably the most popular brainrot, Tung 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 Sahur, was preemptively removed from Steal A Brainrot by its developer after Tung 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 Sahur's creator, who made the character with AI, joined up with a company called Momentum Lab to try and start pursuing royalties for the character. Steal A Brainrot fans of course didn't like this and blamed the creator of Tung 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 Sahur for supposedly forcing the developers to remove Sahur from Steal A Brainrot. Now of course this issue ultimately all comes down to money, and let's talk about that because Steal A Brainrot is making a lot of it. Loot boxes for over 2,000 Robux or $20 each, and admin commands for nearly 7,500 Robux, just over $70, which is literally the price of a brand new AAA game. And I mean, these loot boxes are just straight up gambling. Look at this. The rarest brainrots in this loot box, the secret lucky block, have a 1% and 0.5% chance to spawn respectively. At $20 each, you could be spending upwards of $2,000 to get the rarest ones. And I mean, look at them. And the worst part is, Roblox fully approves and encourages this sort of greedy monetization. In fact, they even had an official partnership with Steal A Brainrot a few weeks ago on the Buy Robux page. Now, for the sake of fairness, I will say that the most important microtransaction in this game is relatively cheap. That's the ability for you to unlock another player's base at any time for 39 Robux, or about 39 cents. Though this is likely intentional, as getting players to make one small purchase makes them more likely to spend more in the future, a tactic called the foot in the door technique. It also still doesn't cancel out the Roblox approved greed that this game displays in its more expensive purchases. I mean, Roblox is giving this game awards. It recently won Best Creative Direction at the 2025 Roblox Innovation Awards. Despite the fact that the core gameplay is from an older game, the art style it uses was popularized by another game, and many of its characters are from pre-existing memes. Is that really innovation? Well, according to Roblox, it is. And that leads me to perhaps the most important question in this video. Does Steal A Brainrot deserve its success? The game was built on a foundation of unoriginal ideas and controversial content. It's a product designed to bring out people's worst instincts. Yet, children seem to enjoy it. They don't think it's that deep. They just have fun playing the game. Just because it can bring out people's worst instincts doesn't also mean that it's not a place where people can make friends and spend time together. It doesn't even really matter if the success of this game was deserved or will continue. It is successful right now, and it ticks all of the right boxes for a lot of people. Whether this is a fulfilling or worthwhile or rewarding experience is a different matter. But what's almost certain is that whether for good or bad, and I honestly think mostly bad, games like Steal A Brainrot are going to be a huge part of the future of gaming.